Our next presentation is by Rex Eberly. He's also with the National Center for Pavement Preservation, and he'll be giving us an update on an NCHRP project and the Emulsion Task Force.
Okay, so you just heard my introduction, so I don't need to go over that again. I have been with NCPP since June 1, and I'm glad that Todd's coming on because no longer am I the new kid on the block once that starts, so that's good. Madam President, we're going to go off agenda here real quick because Bouzid talked about our certification program, and we actually have in the Rocky Mountain region our newest certified contractor, and so we're going to, it was a lot cheaper making them fly from Phoenix to Albuquerque than it was to UPS their plaques, so we just thought we'd do it this way. But as Bouzid said, certification was started to basically raise the bar. ISSA, maybe 7 years ago, started thinking about a certification program for slurry seal, chip seal, crack seal, but we knew that we needed a partner because a trade association of contractors is probably not who you want to run your certification program. It's the fox watching the hen house. So we partnered with NCPP to develop our certification program, and then NCPP partnered with the TSP2 program, and so now we have the AASHTO TSP2 program, which provides individual employee certification to both contractor and agency employees for slurry systems, chip seals, fog seals, and crack treatments. So individual certification is awarded after training and a rigorous online or in-person test. Most of those tests in the past have been given at the Slurry Systems Workshop in early winter, but now with the online, it's much easier to get our contractor folks and your agency folks certified. The next level of the AASHTO TSP2 program is the certification of contractor companies and agencies. To become certified, a company or agency must prove the following. First, they must have a company-wide commitment to quality. They must have a current and ongoing employee certification process. They must have an in-house training program. And they must have documentation and daily use of company-wide and project-specific quality management plans. It's a very rigorous program to go through. I know this contractor submitted multiple versions until they got it right, until we were satisfied that they were providing us the information that we wanted. So certification must be updated yearly for a contractor and can be rescinded if the contractor or the agency is found to be non-compliant. So obviously we take this very seriously. So ViaSun Corporation of Phoenix, Arizona is our newest pavement preservation contractor to pass the certification process for slurry systems. ViaSun is a full-line preservation contractor that services agency customers in the Phoenix metro area. They do slurry, microsurfacing, fog seal, cool seal, chip seal, and crack treatments. So as part of their commitment to quality, and I think this was very good for them to do this, they built their own mix and asphalt laboratory, and it is AASHTO certified for their items. And a few your labs have gone through AASHTO certification. It is a very difficult process. So I would like to bring up Mr. John Clothermus of ViaSun Corporation. He is the Pavement Preservation Business Unit Leader, and he's kind of had a rough travel day. I'm not going to make him give a speech, but John, congratulations.
Thank you, Rex.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll get our picture taken here. Hold on to that, man.
Oh,
That's
okay.
yours.
Yep, there you go.
I'm going to have to sell it to London.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Rex. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Here, John, we got a box too if you need it. But, okay. All right, now I got to get back on script. But thank you very much for letting us do that. And Bazid is absolutely correct. This certification is being driven by the contractors. Contractors are spending the money to take the test. There's VSN spent money to become a certified contractor, but they keep coming to us going, okay, we're doing this work, but agencies aren't requiring it. Agencies aren't buying into the certification process. And that's really important. I mean, because if agencies don't start putting this into their specifications, then the contractors are going to quit doing it because there's no reason, right? So I urge all of you to learn as much as you can about the certification program and if possible, start getting it into your specifications. Okay, so what I'm supposed to be up here for is to talk about the NCHRP 20-4426 implementation program. And Gary Hicks kind of teed it up for me earlier when he was asking some questions and to see if people knew about the new AASHTO guide specifications. And that's what this project is all about, is to help people learn about these guide specifications. So to begin with was a program that Gary and many of the folks on the Emulsion Task Force were involved in, was NCHRP 14-37, and that was the development of guide specifications for chip seals, microservicing, and fog seals. And those were completed in 2018, and I'm still new enough, I don't understand all the AASHTO, how things become a standard and a spec, but they've worked their way through that process. And then, and so these guide specifications made it through that process. And then NCHRP developed this project to then implement the guide specs. So that's what we're doing here. We're developed and executed a dissemination and implementation plan to generate awareness of these construction guides. This has been a truly collaborative effort between NCPP, the state, or MnDOT, Minnesota DOT, who was the lead state, and the Emulsion Task Force. And a lot of the work has been done by volunteers from the Emulsion Task Force, and we could not have done this project without those volunteers. So there were 5 tasks to this implementation plan. The first was dissemination, starting to get the information out and learning about what the needs were. And then that section is complete. And then we had outreach, training. Those 2 things are ongoing. They're almost complete because the project is coming to a close. I'd say they'll be complete within the next month or so, although the training documents will be online forever. And then right now we're in the demonstration phase. And then once that's all complete, then there'll be a final report that will go out for the study. To start with the information dissemination, and that is always hard for me to say, an online questionnaire was produced, and it went out to TSP2 members and agencies and across the United States, and it wanted to determine a reference base on knowledge and the current state of practice and information on knowledge of emulsion-based treatments, current specifications used by agencies, awareness of new construction guide specifications, and familiarity of provisional design and the material specifications, which are also a part of these guide specs, and they're working their way through the system as well. So we had 162 individuals responded to this online questionnaire, and as the guy from the game show says, survey says our project was worthwhile. Only 9% of those respondents were well informed on fog seal practices. 25% were well informed on microsurfacing, and 67% were well informed on chip seals. So we understood that you know, we needed, there was still some work. Now, we've got engineers in the group, I understand that, so There's a graphic for you, makes you feel better. We got a chart, gives all that same information, chip seals, microsurfacing, and fog seals. And it does make sense that chip seals had the highest knowledge base of those three treatments. I was a little surprised at the small numbers on the fog seal. So then what we needed to do is develop clear and concise messaging to support the guide specs. And this messaging was designed to educate and inform agencies of the availability of the spec guides, to convey the benefits for implementing the new guide specifications and the provisional design and material specifications. And then we wanted to develop agency interest in participating in our demonstration programs, which we'll talk about in a minute. So messaging formats included TSP2 and ETF websites, magazine articles, we've got a YouTube video. So we had a magazine article went out into, I think it was close to 25 regional and national construction magazines. We had a YouTube video, which I'd like to show now, if you're ready, sir. Now, these are always, that video is worth watching just for that little bit of chip seal video. That's one of the prettiest chip seal videos I have ever. So, outreach was completed by NCPP and volunteer members of the ETF M&I committee. Outreach included presentations at industry events, both virtual and in person, webinars, and then direct outreach to participants of the online survey. So those 165 people, well, you did a survey. Hey, guess what? We'd like you to do a demonstration project as well. So next we needed to do training. So we had new specification guides. We needed to get to help people understand what was in it and how they needed to change their projects to accept these guides. So training includes basic overviews of the preservation processes along with specific training on the AASHTO construction guides. It helps agencies better understand the benefits of using the new AASHTO standards for materials design, construction, and quality assurance. And again, that training is ongoing. There were two main training approaches. We had instructor-led classroom training. We actually send volunteers out if an agency requested training. I was involved in it was a kind of a neat situation. We had Vermont, New Hampshire, and Connecticut all doing demonstration projects. And so we brought the three states together in a location in Vermont and did the training there. That was very helpful. And then we can also do the web-based training. So these web-based training sessions are available on the TSP2 website. What we were trying to do is target the personnel who were involved in the specification implementation, the folks in the pavement management system, the project development staff, our construction engineers, field techs, QA/QC, the whole gamut of folks that are going to be using these specifications. So on the TSP2ETF.org under training, here is our construction guide specification training for microsurfacing, and then also one for asphalt emulsion chip seal. This, I think, is one of the best things that have come out of this whole program were these construction guide highlights. They're one-page documents, microsurfacing, chip seal, fog seal, that give the highlights of the specification. So even if you as an agency don't adopt the entire spec guides, we hope that you do, but I think it's important that you get these documents to your inspectors now, because even if it has sections that match the guide specifications, but it includes important points to understand on how to inspect these type of processes. And whether you're using the AASHTO guide spec or not, the information contained in these documents is very helpful to your inspectors. It talks about deal breakers, things that you can't move forward if you don't have, and they talk about no-fly zones, things that if you see this happening, you have to act now. So again, go online, download these documents, and get them out to your inspectors. ETF also developed draft quality assurance guides, the QA/QC guides. I think these are excellent as well, and they're moving through the system. They're excellent reference tools for both contractors and agencies. Okay, now to the big part, the demonstration projects. We had a goal that we would construct a chip seal, a microsurface, and a fog seal using at least some or all of the AASHTO guide spec in each of the TSP2 regions. The goal of each demo project is to incorporate as much of the specification guide components as allowed by the agency. And we're not here to force a specification down you. Many agencies have good specs, but there are certain things in the AASHTO spec that you may want to pick and choose and slide into your specification. Or some agencies didn't like the spec they had, so they wanted to just take the AASHTO spec guide and roll it into their specification. It really didn't matter to us whether it was one piece of the spec guide or the entire thing. We wanted demonstration projects to get this information out into the hands of agencies. From our initial interest, we had about 32 positive responses of folks that said, yeah, I think I can do a demonstration project. And of course, those funneled down to about 18 either completed demos or scheduled demos right now. So as you can see here, anything with an asterisk is completed. So in the Northeast, Maryland, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, and then Nova Scotia. Southeast, quite a big turnout there. Alabama, West Virginia. Virginia's two fog seal and microsurfacing projects are finishing up as we speak. Mississippi DOT, Tennessee did not get theirs done. Midwest had a pretty good showing. And then Rocky Mountain West, we were a little light out here. We missed our goal here. We have a chip seal coming up in Montana that'll be completed next spring. Yes, sir? Evan? Yes, sir. Utah DOT did a great chip seal project and they did an excellent job of getting us the information on that. And then Alaska is working on a fog seal for next year. So we would have liked to had a microsurfacing project in this location. It just didn't happen. But we are very happy with the success rate that we had on these demo projects, where they're all spaced out. We sent out a project review form, so if you had a demo project, there's a review form. It shouldn't take long to fill out, and we'll be using that information in our reporting. And then the last thing is project review and a final report. The project is coming to an end. I think it ends in, I believe, March of 23. I think that the ETF is committed to, even though that the official project is over, I think the ETF volunteers are going to continue monitoring the projects so that we do see what kind of success we had with them. But anyway, so this project review and final report, we'll do interviews with demonstration participants. We'll probably do a repeat of the initial survey and see if we move the needle. We're still working on finalizing what that's going to look like. So, conclusion, NCPP continues to collaborate with government, industry, and academia to advance payment preservation. We talked about the certification, and that's important for our industry. And the development of these AASHTO payment preservation guide specifications is an important step for the industry. When we get preservation into AASHTO, that is a big deal. And I appreciate all the folks that came before me that have been working through this, and I'm proud to be a part of this project. So, any questions, comments? When you read these guide specs, you'll see a lot of blood and sweat from Mr. Hicks. He was very involved in that.
Well, that's not what I was going to comment on. This is Gary Hicks, California Pavement Preservation Center. I was going to comment on the certification. I actually incorporated the requirement for certified contractors and agency personnel in a project near Vandenberg Air Force Base in Southern California. It was the city of Lompoc. And it was at a time when all of the contractors that worked in Nevada were certified. At one time, everything in Nevada was certified. So all of the contractors bid on it, and we got a good contractor, and we got a great job. And 2 of the agency personnel were certified, one in chip seals and one in slurries, because we did Cape seals. So it worked.
Robert Young, New Mexico DOT. In New Mexico, it's our policy that we put OGFC on all state roads where the speed limit is 45 miles per hour or more. My question is, does OGFC count as a pavement preservation treatment? Because if it does, it'd be good to have, for us to have specifications and guidelines for that.
I would say that would can count as a preservation. The ETF emulsion task force was really aiming at the emulsion-based preservation products because there was less work done on those than there has been on hot mix. So I think that's probably why at this point there isn't a thin overlay spec guide, but
It is a pavement preservation treatment, and maybe in the future it'd be good to have guidelines for it.
yes, there do need to be, with any thin HMA treatment, that's the thin lays, yes, there needs to be, I'm sure there are differences in testing and producing and everything that regular hot mix, so.
The way these all got done was Rhode Island, a guy named Colin Franco submitted research need statements to NCHRP. And that's how all of these guidelines and construction guides were developed. New Mexico can submit a research need statement on thin asphalt overlays, including both dense graded or open graded mixes. There's no way, there's no reason not to if it's important to you. So states can initiate these research need statements. And if you need some expert advice on how to do a winning project, talk to Colin Franco of Rhode Island. He's been very successful, and I don't know how he's done it, but he's been very successful.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.